It's the Curiously Insane Podcast. Tyler T hit you with the facts.
What it do, what it be? It's your boy Tyler Transue here with the Curiously Insane Podcast, where we find out what fires people up, and in doing so, we fire you up to find your Everest and climb it. Because, baby, it ain't the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog. Let's go, bro. Today, we are honored to have the one, the only Josh Rittenhouse from Partaie Goods. And let me, real quick, let me drop this in here. Let me share this screen. Bang. This bad boy. Yep. There we go. Dude, look at this. For all our beautiful viewers out there, this is what I'm talking about. You can find Partaie Goods at www.partaie, P-A-R-T-A-K-E, goods.com. So, Josh, what's happening, my man?
Not much. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on, bro. I I wanted to reach out and see if you want to be on here, because one of the things that always stuck with me, all right, and has helped me with my journey in filmmaking or just life in general is, man, I always respect people who kind of set a goal and then stick to it. And I recall a few years back for Partaie Goods, pardon me, did you do like a 365-day challenge, correct?
Yeah.
Or something to that effect?
I guess it was in 2018. Yeah, started January 1st and went through till December 31st. Just carving a spoon every day.
Carving a spoon every single day.
Yeah. So that's what first got me into carving. I saw another person doing that same kind of challenge or project, whatever you want to call it.
Okay.
So yeah, after I was carving for a few years and stuff, I was like, oh, well, it was cool to see him do it. It was challenging. You learn a lot and expose other people to the craft and whatnot along the way. So yeah, I decided to do the same thing.
Now, have you always been into woodworking? Like, I remember you being a musician. You play guitar and stuff growing up. I'm trying to think. I know you were into like video games and computers and the internet early on and all that stuff. Were you very handy and into woodworking and building stuff?
Yeah. I was always in the shop with my dad. My dad always had a shop out back. So him and I built a lot of stuff over the years. And then during high school, at some point, one of my electives was woodworking. I did for 2 years. So during that time, I kind of got back into it at school, and I was working on stuff at home and everything. And then, yeah, after that, it was on and off for a bit. And then I started really getting into like traditional woodwork with hand tools and stuff, and not as much power tools. And then that's what eventually led me to spoon carving and everything.
So, Josh, if you look on your screen, is this what you're talking about? These are like the hand tools you're using?
Yeah, so other than a chainsaw to cut the log up initially, everything else is done with hand tools. So I use an axe, a small hatchet axe, to do the initial shaping, and then after that, it's like that knife right there. And some of the other pictures would show like the scorp and stuff I use to round the bowls out and everything. Yeah, if you go to the top and just hit shop. Right, yeah. So yeah, like right there in the middle picture is one of them. Yeah, so that's a hook knife. So I use that, and the other one's called a scorp, where it actually loops all the way around and goes back into the handle to hollow the bowls out.
Wow, man, that is insane. So you cut your own wood, And, like, are you going out in your backyard? Are you going into state forest? I don't know if that's legal. I'm not like where. So don't do anything that's going to jeopardize your company. But like, where are you getting your wood that you're cutting it down? You just go find it?
It kind of just worked out naturally. The year that I actually, like, on day 2 or 3 of 2018, when I started the year-long project, we moved, and it just so happened we moved into a house with like 4.5 acres, and most of it is wooded. So the year that I started carving the most, I had an endless supply of fallen wood. So that's all I've been carving since we moved here.
Oh man. So it's already down. You don't even have to chop it. I mean, you just gotta like
right. Some of it, like, I had to take a walnut tree down to put my current shop in. I built actually a pole barn for my shop. So I had to have a big walnut tree taken down that was in the way of that. So I carved a lot of that. I still have a lot of it left. And then our property was not maintained for 30 or 40 years, or probably at least like 20 years or something. It was just a single woman living here for a while. So yeah, there's a lot of wood to clean up that I can kind of pull from. And there's still more coming down. So any storms we have occasionally, unfortunately, brings another tree down. So then I pull from that. But yeah.
That sounds like a good deal, bro. That's rather serendipitous that you just have kind of an endless supply of, of your materials.
Yeah, it was fortunate. I don't know that I would have made it through that year-long project, because I don't think I really realized at the start of that how much material I would need. And before I moved, obviously, I had to source it elsewhere. So I had to like ask people if they had trees down or limbs or whatever, or find wood in other ways. So yeah, it would have been more challenging if I couldn't just walk out back and cut a portion of a tree off on the ground off and carve it. Yeah, it would have been harder. So there are ways to do it, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, and massive credit to you too. I mean, I love that part of the story. Just hearing like, so you built your own shop. You said you had to remove a tree. You said a pole barn or something like that.
Yeah. So yeah, when we were moving, of course, it was the only one of the restrictions we had is we wanted a house with a garage or an outbuilding or something for a shop. And of course, we bought a house that did not have either. So I cleared an area out and we built a pole barn.
What's that, like something like this?
It's completely closed in, so it has like the metal siding, like some of the other pictures there. Pole barn basically means instead of like a full concrete footing as the foundation, you put poles, like big 6x6 poles, like 4 feet into the ground. And then the walls get constructed to those. So instead of like a traditional house or whatever that probably have like concrete footings and then they get built on top of that, pole barns have big poles sunk into the ground, and then you build your walls directly onto those. So that was an undertaking as well, which was actually happening while I was doing that project, which was challenging some days because it was doing that for like 12 hours on the weekend day or something, and then having to carve a spoon quick so I could keep that project going.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. And like, so let me ask, did you just like Google or YouTube how to assemble a pole barn? Like, you didn't go to school for pole barn building or anything like that. You just said, somebody's done it before. There must be a way. And I if I get the materials, I can put it together or build it.
Yeah, more or less. So I looked into having it built, and I looked into even I have a builder locally that would have kind of let me help and stuff, which probably would have been a better way to do it. But I think like with timing and stuff at the time, I was like, I'll just do it. So yeah, I found a local supply company that actually will kit everything together, so you can give them dimensions, doors, windows, whatever you want, and they'll kind of kit everything together and drop it all off at once. So I got all of the lumber and siding, roofing, trusses dropped off at once, and then took me over a year to finish it. But I rented. First time I ever ran a skid steer. So we live on like a hillside, so I had to rent a skid steer and excavate and level an area out.
Holy cow!
And then I hired a local excavator, came in to finish it for me.
Okay.
And he had a big auger on his skid steer, so he augered out the holes that I needed to put the poles in. And then after that, luckily I have some awesome friends. They came out on weekends whenever they could and helped me. And yeah, we built the thing.
Dude, that's sick. I'll tell you what. For whatever reason, as much as I've been able to develop like filmmaking skills and like framing objects and cinematography and all that stuff, man, one thing I've never been good at is being like handy. And I'm talking like, dude, I always had the ideas. I remember being a kid, 8 years old, 9 years old, we'd get like pieces of wood. We'd like fashion a crossbow out of it, like make our own crossbow. It was somewhat functional, but oh my gosh, it was hideous to look at. And same deal, we'd add like additions onto the treehouse and stuff. And it was just always such an eyesore. Oh, I wish I had pictures to compare your and my sheds built in, what was Mr. Schultz, like, was that 9th grade tech ed or something like that?
I think it was middle school, 7th or 8th.
Oh, yeah, it was middle school.
Yeah.
It was probably 7th. I think 8th was Balmer then.
Yeah, I think so.
However it was, but oh my gosh, dude. Measure twice, cut one. Or sorry, yeah, measure twice, cut once. Bro, I'm not a measure twice, cut once. Yeah, I even measure twice and cut once. And the thing still, the little shed with those, everything scaled down, the little pieces of balsa wood or whatever they were.
Yeah.
Man, I could not put it together. How did yours look back then? Was yours good? Have you always been able to assemble stuff that it looks nice and neat?
Probably. Yeah, I've always been particular. So,
okay.
I guess that's one thing that helped, actually doing that year-long project helped me with, was not being quite as much of a perfectionist, and being able just to finish something rather than constantly try to improve it and change it or whatever. So with that hard deadline every day, you just have to finish it. So I think that's one thing that helped me during that whole thing, was learning the balance there of still producing something you're happy with and proud of and is functional, but not getting every little facet of it perfect.
Yeah. So that can definitely bog you down. I love the hustle. And that's cool. I think perspective is a big thing too about, like, these journeys that we're on is, you can look at, oh man, I got to do a spoon every stinking day. Why did I agree to that? Or you can look at it as, right, oh man, this is helping shape me into somebody who's maybe, not quite a perfectionist and understands that, oh dude, it's fine just the way it is. I know you're putting in, let me ask you this. How many hours would you say it takes to make a spoon, from the sawing the log that you need to then whittling it all down, or I guess using a hatchet or something you said, and then whittling and all that? Like, how many hours are going into that?
It's probably depends on the wood and what type of spoon and stuff, but it's over an hour, puts up probably up to like 3 hours per spoon.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I mostly do them in batches, so it's not like I'm not just sitting there doing one spoon for 2 hours and then doing the next one or whatever. So it's like I'm batching all of them. So I'm doing like, I'm out in the shop at my stump, basically like a big stump I put on legs to hatch it on.
Okay.
So yeah, I'll axe out a bunch of blanks at once, and then I'll go to knife work and like rough carve a bunch of them, and then I'll kind of go back and do all the finishing cuts at the end and finish them.
And do you have an image in your head before you go to start cutting? Are you like, I'd like it to look like this? Or do you almost just kind of go with some sort of whatever inspiration and just start going, and it comes to you as it like reveals itself as you're carving?
Right. Yeah. Anymore, it's kind of more whatever comes out as I'm carving. At the beginning, I was definitely kind of looking at other carvers' work and stuff and had something like in mind. So that would be like, I will cut the initial blank, and then I would actually take a pencil and sketch out what I'm trying to get at and everything. Anymore, I don't use a pencil at all. It is just, I will just go at it with an axe. However, I kind of envision it as I go. And sometimes even the wood will dictate that. So I try not to get ahead of myself and think, oh, I really need this to look like this, because then I'll like split the log open and there will be a knot right where like the handle will need to be, or whatever. So rather than say, oh, well, I really wanted this one, so I'll just throw this piece out and get another one, you can be flexible about it and just work around it, either shorten it. Like I might have been planning to do a cooking spoon out of this one, but now it's a coffee scoop because there's a big knot in the handle or something like that.
Dude, that is sick. I love it, man. And it's so, I mean, people, go to, if you're listening to the podcast and not able to view this stuff, I mean, just go to his partaigoods.com. I mean, this is beautiful. And are you doing the like photography and marketing for this as well? Because that's something else that really catches my eye, is that, wow, these are clean photos, well framed. I love the compositions of them.
Yeah, actually, I just updated my website over the weekend, so there's like 63 products I just added. So it took me like 3 or 4 hours over the weekend. I just shot all of those photos and added them all to the website and stuff. So yeah, I do all that.
Man, dude, that's gnarly, dude. I love it. You're a modern day Renaissance man. Straight up. You're playing guitar. You're making coffee scoops. You're building pole barns. You're marketing it all in a very clean and professional manner. I assume you built the website yourself?
Yeah, it's just built on Shopify. So
okay.
It's just one of their templates. I messed around with building it and ultimately didn't want to put that much time into it. So I went with the templated version and put my time elsewhere.
Well, it looks great. And where is most where can people follow most of your stuff? I used to see it on Facebook, I feel like, but are you mostly on Instagram or?
Yeah, it just kind of came off of a maybe 1 or 2 year hiatus, or I was still working, but I wasn't posting anything. So now I'm back on Instagram mostly. When I remember, I'll click the little thing and throw it on Facebook as well. But the most reliable place to find what I'm currently working on would be Instagram.
That's amazing. And I don't know if people out there, well, maybe they understand and appreciate, but for me, yeah. Dude, so I'm doing TT Productions and Dockside Media. I think they're the 2 main channels I'm running right now, pages, companies. But dude, I'm maxed out at Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I'd love to do Instagram too, but it's amazing how much just one more social media site even when you're copy and pasting the stuff, but like you added an Instagram, now I got to throw in tags, right? Like the hashtags on everything. I'm dying. But so that's why I can certainly understand how a market has come up for like social media. What's the word I'm looking for? Like a brand content manager and stuff, like, you know, people that are managing your social media accounts, because it is an awful lot of work. If you want to do it right, like if you come over to Josh's Instagram page at Partaie Goods, I mean, look at this, guys. Like, it's a clean look, you know, so it looks professional. So when people stop by, they're like, oh, baby, I am buying a spoon from this guy. It's like, okay, yep, that's the log he was talking about, that he that you put the wood on.
Yeah, that's like
right?
Carving bench or stump or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. And so anybody listening out there, man, I hope some of you are finding some inspiration to go after whatever fires you up, man. Josh happened to stumble upon spoons. I don't think 20 years ago, you know, in high school, did the idea of you know, being a guy with a rocker whittling a spoon, like, did that ever cross your mind, you think?
No.
Yeah.
No,
and
I didn't know it existed.
Yeah. And so
I wouldn't have been into it if I knew that it existed. So
no, exactly. So it's so cool, man, how these things often kind of come into our lives or cross our paths, like just at the right time. If I stumbled upon filmmaking 20 years ago and I had to go through like shooting everything on analog and then physically cutting tapes and pasting it together, I don't know. You know, I don't know if I would have done it, but the fact that I could start just doing it all on my cell phone and trimming everything and it's like, oh, dude, this is like kind of just an instantaneous reward. I can see that I'm progressing and it's what I needed. And same deal with you. Like,
yeah,
man, I'm just super impressed. I love that you built your own shop. Like, that's really cool. And I'm sure, you know, maybe the fact that you said like your dad had a shop behind the house or growing up, or you guys had a shop that you guys would work in, helped maybe let you know, hey, that's possible, right? Like my dad, he had a shop and we could go out and work in it. So someday I'd like to have a shop. And you moved your feet and you did what you needed to do. And now, man, now you got yourself a shop. Yeah. Your own pole barn. How often are you out there, do you think? You spend a good deal of time in it?
Yeah, it varies. It's still the inside's not fully finished yet, so there's no heat or air conditioning or anything like that in it, which it doesn't fully need air conditioning, but heat it definitely does need. So a few nights a week at least, I'll go out there for as long as I can stand the current temperatures.
Yeah.
And then luckily the axing part I need to do out there, obviously, but all the carving stuff I can do inside. So yeah, usually I'll focus my time out there and axe out as many blanks as I can, and then I'll come inside into the house and carve those blanks throughout the week. Then
that's sick. So when you're carving that, they come off like the little chunks or pieces, they come off like a nice solid things. You know, there's not like little guinea pig shavings or whatever all over the.
There's definitely shavings all over. They're everywhere. So,
but nothing a Roomba can't take care of. I got you.
Okay. Yeah, right. I'll clean that up. But yeah, it's definitely like any hoodie I put on, I can usually find some wood chips in the pockets. And or like shoes or attached to socks or whatever.
I got it. Man.
I mean, we clean, but it's inevitable that there is a wood shaving or two found somewhere throughout.
That's got fiber. You can eat them all day long. That's just going to help keep you regular. Let me ask you this. So what is it specifically about carving that like fills your spirit? Like, do you find solace? Do you find peace? Do you like being like an artist and creating something from nothing? Like what is it that really drives you to keep going?
I think it's been like a few things. It's creative outlet, which, like you said, we played music and stuff through high school and whatnot. I went to school for graphic design and stuff. So yeah, there needs to be some sort of creative outlet for me, and it's not always in other parts of my life. So I think that was kind of a natural thing to just be able to be creative with it. And even though it's just a spoon, it's still just a lot of parts about it that are creative. And then the fact that it's all hand tools and stuff keeps it sustainable as well. So I don't have to really worry about being part of like deforestation or something like that, because with the way that I'm carving, I can't physically carve enough spoons to do that sort of damage. So yeah, even
and
other
with you using trees that are already fallen or damaged from, it's like, oh well,
right,
really
yeah,
you're
it's
using
kind of
stuff that was going to break down and return to the earth anyways. Like it's
right. Yeah, it's kind of an important thing to me. So that was also part of the natural, I guess, progression. That once I started to get into it and learn more about it, it was like just one more reason to do it, I guess.
Yeah.
And then I guess too, you only need a few tools. They can be expensive if you get nice ones. So I guess that's another aspect of it that I enjoyed, is the tools. There are a few like mass-produced tools available, but there's also a huge focus on handmade tools.
Oh.
For spoon carving. So you start to learn who's forging them, where they're located, and everything. And so you go after the tools that you want and support somebody that's also doing another traditional craft like blacksmithing and stuff. So that was a neat side of it. I forget where I was going before I got off on that tangent, but yeah.
So you're down, and you've always been down with nature. I feel kind of. Were you into fishing?
Yeah. So yeah, we
something?
did fishing with my dad again. We were young and everything, and then probably shortly after high school, or maybe during I don't think it was during high school. Probably shortly after, I got more into fly fishing and stuff.
Okay, that's right.
So yeah, I was heavy into fly fishing for a little while, and then got into mountain biking and stuff too. So it's just been, yeah, a lot of my hobbies have kept me outside in the woods.
Huh.
So yeah.
And what do you think? Yeah. Any reason behind that? Like, do you feel at one with nature? Is it just something about being like away from electronics? Like, are you the type, like when you go out to get your piece of to get the log or cut the log and then go to your take it to the shop and take the axe to it and all that, like, do you leave the electronics away? Do you want to totally be disconnected, or do you have your phone on you?
I'll usually have my phone on me. At this point, I have 90% of notifications turned off all the time, so I don't.
Okay.
I don't really. Yeah, I try not to live on my phone or whatever. I'm at a computer enough, anyways. So yeah, I don't know. There was definitely a period of my life where I was heavily into tech and whatever, gadgets and electronics and computers, building computers, rebuilding computers, and all kinds of stuff. But anymore, like, yeah, I'm still into all of that. I use a computer every day. I sit at one all day for work, but
okay.
So yeah, that could be part of it. It's just at the end of it, I just need a break and just go out into the woods or something where it's quieter and no screens and stuff like that.
Dude, I dig it, man. Some of these camp outs I've been on for like the secrets of the Sasquatch and just some really neat stuff out in nature. It's like, oh, dude, the people following the Dockside Media channel, they probably think, oh, dude, oh, Tyler, he must have been like tent camping forever. He's just going out taking filming equipment and other people. It's like, oh, he wouldn't be putting people in danger, jeopardy in like 25-degree weather. It's like, oh, no, dude. Like, I mean, yeah, like, I don't know. I don't really have, like, I went and got the experience. So now when I keep going, the more I do it, it's like I feel even more comfortable. But it's like, okay, man, if we can get a fire, we're going to stay warm. If we've got tents for a little bit of shelter, we'll be good. And if we got some sleeping bags that are rated for cold weather, man, we dandy, right? And because like people have been surviving out here forever. And so I love the whole aspect of like even getting kind of cold, right? And like toughing through it. And that next night, bro, when I'm sleeping in my warm bed, oh my God, like it makes me appreciate that so much more. So like I can get down with the nature and stuff, like the hunting. I never get anything, but I go out and do it. Like fishing, like I like being out there. For a guy that's real high energy and stuff like that, I think a lot of people would be surprised. Like I'm real good at just like kind of disconnecting and just being in the moment and fishing, not catching anything either. Necessarily, but just like enjoying the peace and the quiet and just hearing the stream and like the sounds of nature. And yeah, man, it fills me up. Like I totally love that.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, it's energizing and whatnot. I don't know. It's kind of always been my natural thing is to just like even with fishing, like you said, it's not really about catching as much as you can, just kind of the experience and getting out and having something there to occupy your mind or whatever and get into, and just enjoy the experience. But yeah, even like from the beginning, it wasn't like on opening day or whatever, or certain areas people follow like the stocking trucks or whatever. They'll know the schedule, know where they're going to stock certain streams.
Yep.
And for the most part, like a couple friends and I that did it, the only reason we might find out the schedule is to go somewhere else, because it was more about getting away from the crowds and just having the quiet, and you trying to catch like the native fish instead of the stocked fish and stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, opening day, trout opening day in PA. If you're listening and you haven't done it, I mean, you got to probably experience it one time, because it's nothing but assholes and elbows, dude, all along that bank. Like if you're at a spot that's stocked, if people are researching it, definitely, but people know, but sometimes you'll show up and dude, you got 30 people on a bank on this side, 30 on the other bank on a 15-foot, 20-foot wide stream, right? And everybody just, oh, dude, and
crossing lines,
it's crazy, dude. It is, it's crazy. It's madness. So I'm with you on like, oh, dude, I'd rather, I'm down with not catching as many fish and just go and finding like a more secluded spot. That's always fun, dude. How about this too, man? How dope is the fact that you stumbled upon this, like in the Partaie Goods and the carving in 2018. I mean, bro, think about, like, say you even stumbled upon it in 2000 and it was, we got somebody commented finally some fishing content from Josh Mueller. Yeah, we'll give you a little bit more fishing content here in a second, but let me get back to this anecdote. But dog, so even if you stumbled upon woodworking in 2000 and loved it, bro, what are you doing? How are you growing a business back then? You're investing mad capital running newspaper advertisements, getting a stand at Roots or something, like setting up a table outside your house. Like the fact that you can, now the website you built, you had to pay for, but the Instagram, the like the Facebook, the stuff that you started off on to get 2,000 and some followers, like, dude, like, is this not the perfect moment in time for somebody to want to take a shot at their dreams and be an entrepreneur? Because you can get whatever your product or service or dream is out there to people.
Yeah, for sure. I would say even locally, like around Lancaster, the past like 5 years or more, there's like a focus on like handcrafted stuff and small business seems to have been kind of growing.
Gotcha.
So yeah, a lot of what I did was on the web, and it was, yeah, like you were saying, far less expensive than more traditional methods to get the word out of a new business. But I did get in. So there is a market locally called Creatively Lancaster, and I think
okay.
it was like the second year maybe that they were doing it. I had a stand at their shows like every month. So yeah, even the local stuff was kind of just good timing, because I think there was a lot more focus on that sort of stuff when I was first getting started with all of it. Whereas, yeah, if it was 10, 20 years ago, there was, I mean, maybe I just wasn't aware of it back then, but it feels like there was just less opportunity for that sort of thing back then.
Gotcha. Yeah, man, I will forever be thankful and grateful for just, man, the times that we live in. Man, from getting to experience like Pong, right, on Atari, and like
Right.
Mario. And I remember going over to your house, bro, when I was like 9 or something, and we World Cup soccer was big.
Right. Yeah.
Remember that World Cup soccer? And we
Yeah.
played that a good bit on sleepovers. But dude, so like to go from that to, you know, the PS5 and just high-end PC gaming with really high frame rates, like, and PlayStation VR or Oculus or some sort of VR headset. It's like, holy cow, bro. And another 20 years, all right, we're in our mid-50s, and I bet we can't even conceptualize the kind of games and like imagery that we will be able to experience. And I guarantee, I feel like they've been probably making this tech now, but I feel like the haptic feedback, like you're going to be able to smell your environments. You're going to be able to feel the things that are engaging with you. And it's like, oh my gosh, bro, this is insane. Like, life imitates art, right? Like, sci-fi movies been talking about that stuff probably for a long time. And here we are. Yo, hold up. Just since we do have my man Josh Mueller watching, I don't know if he dropped out, but you want to throw, you got what's your best fishing story there, Josh Rittenhouse?
Big story.
Any big catches?
Probably the biggest trout I've ever caught was on Christmas morning. I don't know how long ago, probably like 7 or 8 years ago.
Oh.
So me and a friend of mine used to go out Christmas morning before all the family get-togethers and whatnot. We would go out first thing in the morning and go to a stream and fish for an hour or two or whatever. And yeah, usually that was the same type of deal. It was it's just kind of calming before the craziness of everything that day.
Mm-hmm.
We never really expected to catch anything when we went out. Usually it was cold enough that you spend most of your time cleaning the eyes out on your rod, because they would ice up from the water off the fly line. But yeah, it just so happened we were out one Christmas morning, Donegal Creek, which was like 10 minutes from where I was living at the time. And caught probably the largest trout I've ever caught was that morning. How many inches? Show us with your hands and give us a verbal inch. I didn't measure anything, but it was I don't know how to give good frame of reference. Man. I don't know. It was probably like 15 to 18 inches. Decent size holdover trout in Donegal Creek. Donegal Creek is a super, super small, so there are big trout in there, but and 15 to 18. I know, like growing up, it's like, oh, dude, you want to catch bait. But if you've gone trout fishing, dude, 15 to 18 inches is a big trout. It was a good size trout. Yeah. The only thing sometimes are bigger are those palminos or whatever, they are. You'll see them like throw one of those in once in a while. They got like the big hook jaw or whatever in the front.
Now, what'd you catch it on? Do you remember what your bait was?
We were fly fishing, so it was probably a streamer, like a woolly bugger or slump buster.
Okay. You tie them yourself as well? The flies?
Yeah, so it's been a while. But yeah, for a while I was heavily into that as well. So I think I'm still kind of working off the supply that I tied 15 years ago or something.
Man, you're like Jeremiah Johnson or something, bro. Just out here slaying anything out there in the woods. You got it all. Well, I'm telling you what, we got a nuke drop, and guess where I'm heading? Your pad. Your pad. I'm on my way. I'll bring my little knife all little with you, dog. If we still got Josh out there, and man, I was trying to find it on Facebook. I could not find it. But dude, I caught a massive, it was down in the Dominican Republic, maybe like 2015 or something like that. Dude, it was a massive, dude, what kind of shark was it? I can't remember now. Man, what a downer, dude. I can't remember the name of the shark, but it was massive, dude. Everybody wigging out. And it was crazy. It was one of those like kind of group charters or whatever. Okay. Like not the big ship, but we had like maybe 6 people, I think, on, or 8. Okay. And dude, when we hooked into that, right, it was insane. They're like, oh man, like they hooked it, and like they sit you down in the chair, and so I was closest or something, so they sat me down and they gave it to me first, dude, and I'm reeling, and you got like a harness and all whatever. Yeah, bro. After like 30 seconds, forearms shot, dead. Yeah. Like I am like, oh my dude, somebody else. So we just kept tapping people in. We had one dude who was like, man, maybe late 40s, early 50s. He was from Russia and an MMA fighter. Like I don't think he was like a popular MMA fighter, but somehow it came up that he's in MMA. Like, okay, they'd explain why, dude, because he was the only dude that probably would sit there and crank for like 3 minutes. Everybody else, like after 60 seconds, dude, like you had to tap, man. Like it's insane having that large of a fish on the line and getting close, somewhat close to the boat or like getting near the surface. And those things are that powerful. Like when it wants to, it just, and just runs. You're like, oh my gosh, dude, we just all that work for the past hour for nothing. That thing is hundreds of yards out. But so I'll forever remember that. And we were like, and it was just a crazy experience. Yeah. Pulling that thing up and you got the gaffs or whatever, right? Yeah. So, oh no, bro, it wasn't. Completely lied, dog. Completely lied. It was not a shark. It was a swordfish, bro. That's what it was.
That's awesome.
Or a marlin. Damn it. I think it was a marlin. I know no fish. So if you're out there and you're into fishing, don't listen to this podcast. I'm not sure what any type of fish is called, but this is why I remembered it was not a shark. It was it was a blue marlin, because definitely blue marlin. Hell yeah, it finally came to me because I remember, dude, people were gaffing it and stuff. We're trying to pull this like 500-pound or whatever it is, like giant marlin up over the side of this boat. And I grabbed the like the snout with my hands, and oh my gosh, dude, like we got it up over, but dude, my hands were like just like shredded, bro. It was like sandpaper on that like like the snout of the marlin. It was insane, dude. Like rubbed all the like all my skin off my hands. It was nuts. But and I remember the people were like, oh, like the crew in the Dominican Republic, they were all like, oh, what did they say? We were like, oh, can we get some like steaks off this or something? When everybody goes back to the resorts, we can have them like, grill them up, cook them up. And they're like, oh, no, it's no good eating. We're like, oh, okay. And then like we get off, like we like leave and we're Googling it. It's like, oh no, dude, this is saying it's like good eating. It's like, valuable. I'm like, oh, they just made a ton of money off this giant fish. Because like everybody on all the different boats, like talking all day, like nobody out in the ocean were catching anything. Nobody. I think we were like the only group, the only boat. And it was nuts too, because we were like, I forget how many, 20 miles out, whatever it was. And we're out for hours and hours and hours and like nothing, right? I think we had like maybe one barracuda or something like that. and like we're coming all the way back, and like we're only, I forget, a mile or two from like shore, and thinking, oh dude, well, this is it, man. I guess we're not getting anything. And that's when like, yeah, that thing, it was like something straight out of a Discovery Channel show, dude, because like you're like, you know, you're like on the boat facing back, like looking at the wake, and like 50 yards out, you just see a blue marlin come jumping out of the water, like hitting the lure. Like, what? Fish on, let's go.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Josh Mueller, there's your fishing story. And it's not a shark. You go back to my Facebook profile, dog. You'll find it. It is a blue marlin. And Matt said Jay-Z will attest to that. He was there. Yo, Alien Girl, what up? Thanks for the shout out. Yo, speaking of aliens, yo, Josh, I hate to do this, but I feel like I need to wrap this up because I've got another podcast coming up, like to be interviewed for Conscious Contact Full Disclosure. It's a documentary that Chris Rupert and I finished, and we're gonna have some dope news about it here at the end of this month, as far as like a release date and that kind of thing. So I gotta go hop on that and talk and plug that up. But again, for anybody here who's been tuning in, yo, we really appreciate it. Please drop a comment, drop a like, hit the subscribe button. Again, I got Josh Rittenhouse with Partaie Goods. Visit his website at www.partaigoods.com. Tons of dope wooden spoons, coffee scoops. But name all your spoons real quick, Josh, so people know what you got.
It's mostly cooking spoons, coffee scoops, eating spoons, serving spoons. If you want, yeah, they're the main.
So anything that you need scooped, he'll even do a custom pooper scooper for you for your pets. A wooden pooper scooper, and he's got a type of wood that is like it automatically kills bacteria. So you can scoop the poop and then bring it back inside. No worry about stink or anything. That was all made up. Nobody could buy that stuff. But thank you so much, bro. I appreciate you coming on, man. This has been a blast. Do you have anything else you want to mention?
I don't think so. Thanks for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Dude, it was a lot of fun. So again, Partaie Goods. Most of their activity is on Instagram at partaigoods.com. Josh, thank you so much, my man, for coming on. You have yourself a great rest of the day.
Thank you.
Excuse me, I made it the whole way through the episode without burp until the very end. What a pig. If my girlfriend's watching, babe, I am sorry. I did not mean to. So until next time, keep on keeping on.